Let me now introduce a very special guest, Gophers 2025 four-star quarterback, commit Jackson Kollock. How are we doing today?
Doing good, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So, you obviously just took your official visit last week to the Gophers for the Summer Splash event. A lot of recruiting going on for Minnesota. Got plenty of commitments last week. How would you say your official visit went, and how happy were you with, I guess, visiting the program?
Oh, I could not be happier. Like that visit was amazing. It just like reinforced like I'm just so confident in my decision. Like I can't wait to go up and play for Fleck and Harbo. Like those guys are amazing, and all the guys that were up there, like we all bonded, and like that's I feel like a big reason why a lot of those guys like Nelson, Zach, ended up committing is just because like it they know where this program's headed and just the connection like we all built while up there. Like we're already going.
Yeah, so I guess for people that don't know, like when you're on that official visit, how much of the time are you spending like getting to know the other recruits, and kind of what does the visit look like when you show up? Like, what's your day to day, I guess?
You spend definitely a decent amount, like a lot of time with the like other recruits. Like we have dinner together. We went to the Gopher Island together. Like went on the lake together. Um, one day we went to the Mall of America together. Like a lot of this, we did most of the stuff together. Honestly, like the tours, we all went on them together. There's like few things like meetings and stuff that we would do like individually, but most of it was like as a group, which I personally love just because it allows me to get to know the people who I'm going to be playing with.
Yeah, so I guess PJ Fleck's obviously a very unique recruiter, unique coach. He has big personality. And you were originally committed to Washington, so you've interacted with a lot of different programs. To someone who's never met like PJ Fleck, how would you kind of describe his demeanor to you and like the other recruits? And how would you describe like him as a person, I guess?
Oh, he's a straight shooter. Like he's gonna tell you what he wants, and if you don't fit that, don't come here. Like he was straight up with all of us, which is something I personally love. Like I feel like I'm that way too. I'm not gonna like go around the edges and like tell you what you want to hear. He's just like, this is how it is. This is what it's gonna be, and if it fits you, awesome. If not, we don't need you. Like he's a straight shooter, and I absolutely love that about him.
Yeah, so I guess between your recruiting and like when you were on your visit, how much communication do you have with PJ Fleck and other coaches on the staff? I know you mentioned Coach Harbo. Kind of who are the other guys that you've communicated a lot with on the staff in your recruitment?
Keegan O'Hara for sure, and then Tanner. Those are like Keegan, Tanner, Coach Harbo, and Fleck are like the four main guys that I would say I talked to. Oh, and Coach Kaler
Okay.
too.
Yeah. Um, I guess when you're getting recruited by other schools, everyone always talks about the kind of the family feel that, or kind of you just know like it's home when you commit to a school. How would you compare Minnesota to even Washington, a school that you were committed to, and any other program that's recruited you through the process?
Minnesota is definitely very different than everyone else. A lot of these other schools, like they'll tell you what you want to hear, like they'll go around those corners, which is something that like I bought like when I committed to Washington, like they told me what I wanted to hear, and then the staff ended up leaving, and that was it. But with Coach Fleck, like he's a straight shooter. He tells you how it is and like how it's gonna be, and that's like something that you don't get at very many other programs. And then another thing was just like Coach Fleck's there to stay. Like he's not gonna leave. Like that's a staff that I trust will be there by the time I get there and then throughout my college career. And with other places, there's a lot of uncertainty that I don't feel like this is a place where I feel like you can like has the best, most certain for sure.
Yeah, I mean that totally makes sense, especially today's day and age. The last coaching cycle was crazy, you obviously know, but how much, I guess, I don't want you to talk badly on any program, obviously, but how much of your decision to decommit from Washington would you say that was driven pretty heavily by the coaching staff deciding to leave, being that that was the staff that recruited you? Like, was the new staff that came in, did they try to re-recruit you, or kind of what was that whole process like?
I would say the biggest reason why I left was definitely the coaching staff leaving, especially Coach Grubb. Like he's the guy who recruited me, and he's a guy that that I put like my trust in. So when he left, I was like kind of like okay, like time to move on. The new staff they didn't really reach out much. They had their guy Dash Byerly. I know they really liked him. They like the smaller, more athletic quarterbacks. So I was like, there's no point in me staying committed. Like they were gonna honor it, but it wasn't the spot for me. And after I at that point, Coach Harbaugh had reached out to me. It was like already like talking to me about like trying to flip me. And me and him had a good relationship, but these past couple months we've really built that, and I could not be more confident in my decision. Like I'm so certain about Minnesota, and I feel like this is the best thing that could have happened to me was having to decommit and find my true home.
Yeah, totally. I mean, every recruit goes through a different process, and it's super cool that you're happy with your decision now. So you obviously play high school football in Laguna Beach, California. A little different climate than Minnesota. Um, when you're, I guess, looking at playing in the Big Ten, uh, had you ever been to Minnesota before your visit? I know you visited kind of late winter, early spring, so the weather wasn't
Mhm.
exactly midwinter, but I guess uh, the outlook was this your first time ever in Minnesota? Have you always been in California?
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in California my whole life. That was my third time visiting Minnesota. I went up there for the summer camp last July. Then I came during the spring, and then that OV was my third time going up. But I feel like the weather like that wasn't. I knew it was like they told me how it is, and I'm not really too worried about it. Like I'll get acclimated to it. It's not a big deal. So I mean, I'm excited for a change. I've been in Cali my whole life, so it's time to try something different.
Yeah, so I guess when you're on like your visit, obviously there's everything with the coaching staff and stuff, but like how much did you put into like the campus and the area of like Minnesota? Because I went to school at the University of Minnesota and I love the campus. So like how much of that other stuff, like the campus, the facilities, could go into your decision as a recruit?
Um, I would say the biggest part is definitely like the football aspect, like the coaches and stuff. But another big thing for me was like the academic part. Like, will I be able to like the major that I wanted to do like is at the school that I'm committed to. I want to do like sports management or business, and they have both at this school, and it's a very good school. Like they're telling us like top 10 in the country for business. So that definitely played into my decision a little bit. I feel like the biggest part though was definitely the relationships I built. So.
Yeah, totally. So I guess on the football field as a player yourself, how would you describe your game to someone that's like never watched you play before?
I like to say I'm a pro style quarterback that can make plays when needed. So I'm gonna stay there. I'm gonna sit in the pocket. I'm gonna sling it around. But when things break down, I'm gonna go get that first down, or I'm gonna go run someone over to get in that end zone. Like I'm 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 a competitor. Like no matter what, I'm scoring. That's how
Yeah,
I'd say it.
totally. Um, are there any guys at the next level you like to watch emulate your game after?
Aaron Rodgers is my most favorite quarterback of all time. So he's a guy that I've always like tried to style my game after a little bit. Our games are definitely a little different. I've gotten compared to Josh Allen a couple times, like because we're both like big dudes and like to be physical. Um, but and then Justin Herbert's another big one. I feel like those three guys are the guys I emulate the most. Herbert and Josh. I like to think I play like Aaron Rodgers. I probably play more like Herbert and Josh Allen, but if I had to compare myself to anyone at the next level, it would be those two.
Yeah, did you play quarterback growing up your whole, I guess, youth career? When did you start playing QB?
I started playing QB in 7th grade, but that was like my first time ever trying it. And on our Pop Warner team, we had this kid started over me, so I played D line that year. I was like the third string D lineman. I got like 10 plays a game because I was like the minimum requirement. I got like 1 sack on the whole year. But from then on, I worked at it the off season. Next year was starting quarterback, and then from then on, haven't looked back.
Yeah. I guess when you look at the Gophers program under PJ Fleck, they've had a couple of quarterbacks. Tanner Morgan notably was there for 4 seasons. And Ethan Calickman has started last year, and now they have Max Brosmer coming in from New Hampshire. How much focus did you put on like them showing how they used other quarterbacks in the system? Coach Harbaugh now is heading into his second year as an offensive coordinator. So, like the system itself, how much focus did you put that on? Like, kind of projecting where you fit in, and how? Basically, my question is, how do you like the Gophers' offensive system as like a player?
I mean, I love it. I know it didn't look how Harbaugh wanted it to last year. He made that a very big emphasis to me. He's like, I would much rather he wanted to throw the ball a lot more than he did. But that was like definitely a big thing. It's like he's like, you don't watch the film, like we'll show you like in practice and spring ball, they've really like this is what we want it to look like with Max. Like he's a dude. I loved watching like their practices like when I came up in the spring. So I'm excited to see how they do this year. I think Max is gonna ball out. And I'm excited for how their offense is gonna look. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's all I got for you today. I really appreciate you doing this. I'm sure Gophers fans are gonna love to hear more about you, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it. Thank you.